What it do, man? It's your boy Jay Jones, aka I Caesar Filming, aka iPhone Jones, the East Oakland representative. Y'all already know what it is, man. Rocking my Oakland certified shirt today. You feel me? You see it. Listen, I just want to come to y'all today to just share a quick story and get some feedback and get some stories from y'all, to share in this memory in this moment to see, where everybody was kind of at and what people remember about this day. What I'm talking about is the Loma Prieta Earthquake of 1989, October 17th, 1989, which is 30 years ago today. It was one of the worst natural disasters in the Bay Area's history. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I was 6 years old, sitting in my babysitter house, Mrs. Morgan, rest in peace. And she stayed in a house. She had a house that was right across from Mills College. And I remember that day as clear as the perfect sky. Like, man, I'm sitting there. I just got in trouble, and I was a bad kid, hard-headed, a little kid from East Oakland, hard-headed. I just got in trouble for something, and she's like, "Don't move, no matter what, don't move." So I'm sitting there. I think Oprah was coming on, and I remember looking out the window, and it would be like a lot of cars that would pass by, but you could see the trees of Mills College, and they were super tall. They was huge, like oak trees, but I believe these technically are pussy willows. And I'll look it up and put in the description for y'all so that you can see I'm talking about a real tree. I'm not BSing you and just saying something to say it. But so I'm looking out, and it's like, I guess I can liken it to being on a ship or a boat, and as you know, you just waiting, and the water is just waiting, you just swaying a little bit, so you still, but or you feel like you standing still, you're not walking, you're not moving, but things are just kind of moving. So I'm looking out, and I was just like, it felt like you kind of start moving. Like, I look, and you see the trees start to move a little, but I'm like, I don't remember being that windy, and then all of a sudden it got crazy, violent, and just started shaking, and I'm like, oh shoot, I'm a kid, I don't know what to do now. I grew up in California, grew up in the Bay Area, and we had to practice earthquake drills. So in the event of an earthquake, you get under a table, get into the doorway. Don't run out into an open area because stuff can fall on you. And if you're in a building or in a classroom, get under the table, if something falls, it can protect your head. But thinking about it, I guess we was hard-headed. We used to combat it like, well, what if we get trapped under there and all the stuff fall on us? But getting the doorway, they say it's one of the strongest things is a door frame. So if a building falls, the door frames may still be there, depending on the damage or the destruction. Used to be the myth or whatever, what people was teaching us at the time. But I'm sitting there, ain't no table to get under, just the way her living room was set up. It's the doorway, right there across. But she told me not to move. So I'm sitting there shaking, crying. And she come running in, get the other kids, and tell me to get in the door with her. And she like, what you doing still sitting there? And I'm like, you told me not to move. One of the most hard-headed kids you would ever meet. I was terrible. But I'm being obedient. When it gets serious, when I'm like, it's potentially going to give me a whooping and get my butt beat, I'm going to sit my ass still. So I was listening because Mrs. Morgan didn't play. Hella cool, but she didn't play. But I'm sitting there, and she like, well, get your ass over here. One of the first times I heard her cuss, I feel like, get your ass over here. So I ran up over there, in there, and they say it lasted 8 to 15 seconds. It felt like it was like a minute, 2 minutes, like crazy. Oh my gosh. Didn't know at the time that my mom was coming to pick me up, and she said that she was getting out of the car with my little brother. And when they closed the door, she's like, everything started shaking and kind of knocked them off their balance. Just crazy, man. And all the stuff that happened afterwards or during that or from the result of that earthquake was crazy. And today's 30 years and people are remembering it, and I have an alarm set in my phone on my calendar for every year. It reminds me a couple days before and then on the morning of, and I just take some time to reflect and think about it. So I just want to share that short story of remembering where I was at during the Loma Prieta earthquake in 1989. It was crazy. And I remember the Cypress Freeway, which some people call it the Cypress Stack. It collapsed, and it came down, collapsed on top of cars. And I remember some of the stories. You see documentaries, some of the stories from some of the firefighters and rescuers that came to help, and they said that they can hear people tapping their horns because they had flattened people's cars, tops of their cars, so crushed it, and people were this is a freeway that fell on top of a car, a section of a freeway that fell on top of a car, so it's people stuck and trapped, or people's cars that have fell in, they're honking their horns, let people know they're there. And it's just crazy, man. I think it was $13 billion in damage. The World Series was going on. It was the Babe Ruth series, the A's versus the Giants. That stopped like the middle of the. This was serious enough to stop a sports event. That's Mother Nature. You can't control it. It stopped that. Stopped the World Series, and then the freeway collapsed. A part of the Bay Bridge collapsed. The top section collapsed. It was just crazy to see. Like to see it on the news, and then driving around the city trying to get back home. It was crazy. And I just hear different stories from different family members and different friends about stuff that happened during that time, what they remember. And it was just crazy. 63 people's lives were lost. I think they said over 3,000 people was injured. And like I said, it was $13 billion in damage. And this is in 1989. 13 billion, that sounds like a crazy number as a kid. I wasn't worried about billions at 6 years old in 1989. I'm like, dang. So it was devastating, traumatizing, a lot of damage, and unforgettable. But I feel like in the Bay Area, like we go through things because we're strong enough to handle it, and it shapes us and molds us a certain way. So we definitely still here 30 years later, with much love, appreciation, and respect for Mother Nature. After that event, if you didn't have it before, you definitely better have it after that. And man, just with a lot more knowledge and technology now, they're making buildings a lot stronger. These structures are a lot stronger. There were houses that were destroyed from this. There were buildings and businesses that were destroyed and damaged. It was crazy, man. The devastation was crazy. So if you've ever been to an earthquake, you know how scary it is. But if you were in this earthquake specifically in 1989, if you were anywhere in the Bay Area or know somebody that was, and you can tell me their story, put it in the comments and tell me your story. I would love to read it. And just to get, just another scope, another picture of what was going on in different areas at that time, because everybody was experiencing this thing at the same time. And it was crazy. Is it something most times we go through stuff and you feel like only you going through it, which is not true. But in this particular incident, for a fact, there are so many more people going through the exact same thing as you from experiencing the earth shake like this, like you've never experienced this shake before. And I just always think it's interesting to hear other people's stories and see their reactions and their actions from, their reaction to the thing that's going on. So comment, share your story. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you remember. Yeah, man. And if you've ever been in an earthquake, just let me know what you think if you want. But specifically, if you were in the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake, let me know what you remember, because, man, I remember that story. I will never forget that story. Never forget the looks on people's faces. I will never forget the feelings that I had. It was scary. It was hella scary. And it was recently just an earthquake in the Bay Area, too. So it brought up the memory just, around this time. It's just like, dang, any earthquake, I just think about 1989, man. So appreciate y'all for watching, checking out the video, man. Keep rocking with me for content. Everything Jones, I'll explain that, because plain and simply, I do everything. I'm involved in everything. I do a lot, have a lot of talents. Jack of all trades, master of a few, you feel me? So yeah, man, keep rocking with me. Appreciate y'all. Y'all know what I say, man. CIE, yeah, that's my movement. Confidence is everything. Keep your ears to the streets, your eyes on your homies, your heart with God. You will never go wrong. Follow me on Instagram, jjones_510. Put that right there for y'all. And yeah, put those stories in the comments. Like, subscribe, share. Appreciate y'all. Have an amazing day. Be safe and be good to each other, man. Weekend is coming up, so you gotta live it up. All right, y'all. I'm Jay Jones. I'm out.